Hey everyone, what's up? It's me, Joel D. In this video, we're going to talk about the WordPress admin dashboard, and I'm going to give you an overview of the entire system. So when we start building things out, you're more familiar with the process, you're more familiar with what WordPress actually does, and you won't be wondering in the background what's going on while you're watching me build things out. So it's going to be helpful in the sense that once we get building, you're going to know what's going on, and it's going to make things easier for you and me to explain things. Now I'm going to jump out to my browser and I'm going to go to my new website, dognerve.com, and I'm going to do the WP admin, and it's going to bring me to that login screen where, again, I don't have to go to Bluehost, my hosting service. I can just log in here. I'll put in my credentials. Click enter, and it should bring me to my WordPress dashboard, which it does. So now that I'm logged in, I can see a few things right away. One is this coming soon active button is orange, and then you'll also see your site is currently displaying a coming soon sign, same thing. And once we're ready, and once we build out our content and our site, we'll click launch your site, and that's where we'll make our site live and change the display of what's currently showing, which is the coming soon sign. Now we'll review the top panel, which if you go all the way to the left on the WordPress icon, this is just going out to WordPress itself, learning a little bit more about it, seeing some documentation if you want to learn more about a particular portion of the platform. If you want to create a support ticket or provide feedback, you can do that here. Next, you're going to see this will bring you to the front end of your site. So right now we're on the back end where we're making edits here. But if I wanted to look at my website, and I'll do this in a second, this will bring me to my actual website. Next, when someone leaves a comment on your site, these are basically quick functions that exist here as well. So this is showing you quickly if someone commented on something, you can quickly get to your comment section, which also exists here. If I want to add something new quick without going to let's say my post, this is where you would add a blog post. I could just come to new, click post, and it'll bring me right there. I could add a new image or a video. I could add a new page, which is a static page like a home page or about page or contact us page. I can add a product. I can look at my orders quick, add a coupon, check my users, and check my forms. Caching, we're gonna use this when we make a lot of updates to our site, and this is basically just a reset. So when you're adding plugins and when you're making big updates to your site, you're always going to want to cache things, because if you're not, I mean, sometimes things won't operate effectively and you're going to think things are broken, but really sometimes you just need to cache your settings. So that's how you do that. Again, we talked about this coming soon. Then you can get into your insights and quickly get into your forms again through this option. If I go all the way to the right, I'll see my login. I can edit my profile and I can log out. And right below my user profile information and logout area, I can see that there's this screen options and help section. So screen options is going to be on every page within your WordPress dashboard, and it just gives you a little more control over what's on your page. So if I click on that, it's going to bring me to this drop down where I could remove or add some of these widgets here on my dashboard. So the same thing, you'll be able to do that on almost any page that you're on here. And then help is just, again, obviously giving you quick tidbits of information on how to navigate, what the layout's like, how content is created, and it'll just give you tips on the whole platform as a whole and the dashboard. So I'll click off of that. Now I'll head on over to the left-hand panel, and this is again where a lot of the plugins that you install will live, and also the default pages within the WordPress dashboard live here as well. So first, Bluehost. This is our web host, and WordPress allows you to make some settings changes right through their interface. So that's where you would do this. I'm not going to get into that right now. I would keep that as is. Jetpack is a large plugin that we can actually deactivate and remove. That's what I typically do because I don't really use it. Dashboard is what we're defaulted to. That's this page where we can drag around things, make it to our liking. But again, there's nothing super important yet on this dashboard that I would care about. Sometimes when we're adding, sales options to our website, we can pull up a widget that has statistical data that we can add. That's when it gets important. We'll get into that when we get there. And again, like I said, you could put some website analytics here too. So that's the stuff that I like to add to my dashboard. Don't need to worry about this right now. As you can see, when I click on one of these sections on the left-hand panel, now these little sub menu items are listed below. But if I'm not on this section, they'll be flyouts. So if I were to click on posts, these flyouts are going to live underneath. So I'll do that now. And getting into posts are actually your blog posts. So this is like, your real-time pages of, I have a new post, I want to add something there. I can do it through this add option at the top, the quick add post, or I can come into posts, all posts, add new. And what you're going to do is you're going to build your your blog post through this section here. And I'm not going to do that now, but we'll do that in a later video when we start building out our content that we're creating around those keywords that we've developed. Also, I can create categories for my posts and tags, so it's easier to find on my website, and I can categorize things. So if I have dog anxiety posts, I can add a category for that, or I can tag it. Or if I have just generic dog care, or if I split some of those topics up, I can do that with categories or tags and tag these articles accordingly, and they'll be easier to find on my website. Next is media. This is just where your images and your videos and anything that you add for content that isn't web copy lives in your media area. Pages, these are going to be your static pages. So similar to the web posts or the blog posts, our web pages are going to be similar to setting up a blog post, but these are your static pages. So like your about me pages, your home page will live here eventually, and we'll see that when we actually install Astra starter templates, because that's going to actually automatically add some of these static pages without us having to do anything. So another way, like I said in the beginning, to quicken things up, you're not going to have to do anything, and they're very sharp looking, and then we can make some edits to that using other plugins, and I'm going to show you exactly step by step how to do that, so don't worry about that right now. I can add a new page here. So if I had a terms and conditions page, for instance, I wanted to add, I would click that here. And again, these are going to be your static pages that don't change too often, your contact pages, etc. This is where I'll actually add one of our consulting pages that I had mentioned. So we're going to have a contact page, but I want to always have some sort of consulting offer. So that will live here as well. And again, the difference between this is your static pages versus your, real-time pages and your timely pages. So I want to create a post, and I could update that post a lot of times, and it's a keyword focused web blog post that's going to live here. These are my static pages. Next, comments. If anyone leaves a comment on any of your blog posts or your pages, if you allow them to do that, those will end up here, and you can actually approve or disapprove them or unapprove them if you've automatically approved them to begin with. That's where you'll find that here. Opt-in monster. If you remember us getting that awesome Bluehost deal, this is probably the tool that they use. This is in here by default, but it's actually a paid service if you want to use a lot of their advanced functionality. So that's in here by default, but we could remove it if you don't want to use it. But if you remember when we pretended we were leaving that payment page and we hovered over the back button, it gave us that extra deal. That's exactly what Opt-in Monster helps with. WooCommerce, they automatically installed this when we installed WordPress, because we said that we wanted a shop and potentially we're going to sell products. So WooCommerce got added and installed as a plugin because that's what it is. So now, as you can see, some plugins come and live right on the main area of your left-hand panel. And this is where I can make updates to WooCommerce settings. I can view my orders, I can view my customer information, I can add coupons, check reports, and run some reports on what and how my shop is, how it's doing. And then underneath you'll see products, and this is where I would actually add my products for WooCommerce. So again, I could categorize my products, I can tag them just like I could with my blog posts. So if I have products related to dog anxiety, I could have dog anxiety products. If I had additional products, I could categorize them differently. Just a way for users to navigate your site easier. And again, don't worry too much. I'm just giving you this overview, so don't think you have to remember all of this. We're going to walk through a lot of this step by step. Analytics. Once again, just a quicker way to get to your revenue, orders, products. If you want to run some reporting and analytics and see the analytics around each of those, you can do that here. Marketing. Marketing section will allow you to integrate with third-party marketing tools like Facebook and stuff if you're running ads there, so you can get some insight into that. We're not going to do much of this at this point. WordPress forms. This is your forms area. So if you want to create a subscription form for people to opt in, you can do that here, or newsletter form, anything like that. You can create a form under this WP forms and add it to specific pages where you want people to, where you want to capture email addresses. I typically use my email marketing platform to create forms, and then it just gets automatically added to my email marketing tool, and that's a lot more beneficial in my opinion. So I'll show you that when we get to it. Appearance, this one's pretty critical. This is where you'll see your themes. So we already chose the Astra theme, but I'll click on this now. You can also change that theme down the road if you wanted to. I'm not going to do that right now, and I probably won't ever, because Astra, in my opinion, is one of the better ones. And like I said, we can grab those starter templates and get started quick. Then I can customize my site under appearance. So if I customize this, it's going to bring me out to, and I'm going to do this in a different video as well, but it's going to bring me to an area of WordPress where I can update my logo. I can update how the typography on my pages. So if I wanted to change the font or the sizes, I can do that. I can change the look and feel and colors of the website, as well as your buttons, like your call to action buttons. By default, you make those changes under customize, and we're going to do that in maybe even the next video or the next two videos. You can also make changes to widgets or add widgets, and we'll do that in a different video. Make updates to your menu, so your header menu where you have home, about, shop, blog, my account in this default. You can make edits to that, so we can add, like I said, consulting or contact us or pretty much anything we want here. As long as we lay that out, we can make the changes to the menus here. And again, this is all coming in a different video. And then you can add premium themes and whatnot. Astra actually allows for premium themes as well, and Astra has these additional options, mostly if you do have a premium account with them. Theme editor, we won't worry about that, but basically you can create your own themes as well. Okay. Next one, this one's probably the most important, plugins. I'll click on it. This is where you're going to add plugins, and there's a user interface in itself for plugins here. So if I were to come here and click add new, I'm not going to do that right now, but you'll be able to search for plugins that are going to be beneficial to your website. So one, they're going to either help your website or give you some insight into your website, but also a lot of plugins give you that extra functionality without you having to develop it. So for instance, WooCommerce, instead of you having to completely develop your own tool to build out products and accept payments and everything, Nowadays we can just add a plugin and it's going to do all that for us, and it's going to integrate perfectly with our website. It's amazing. And that's why it's critical to just get a quick understanding, and just we can build out our website so in such an advanced way compared to when I used to develop websites from scratch, where I'd have to do all of this on my own, which was such a pain, so time consuming, and it just was so resource heavy that you do not want to do that these days when you have this option. Right here you can see the already installed plugins. That's just this list. I can search for installed plugins that I already have on my site. Here's where WooCommerce is. I can add settings or deactivate this if I don't want to use it and remove it. Or the same thing with Jetpack. That's what I'm going to do. Deactivate that and remove it, and then it won't live here anymore. And that's pretty much it for the plugin section. Next is our users. So this is where we changed our password, but also this is where your users who sign up for your website are going to live, and you can edit them. You can remove them, you can add them manually, you can change their roles. And there's also a lot of plugins out there that allows you to manage your website memberships more effectively, so we could even use that, but they're also going to be added typically to this default user section as well. Okay, moving on. I can get into these tools. I don't use this too often, but this is just giving you easier access to import and export things within WordPress. It also gives you some site health options and insight, and also allows you to export personal data and erase personal data. Next, settings. This is where you would create some settings around, general site settings, writing, reading, discussion, media, permalinks, and privacy settings. We're not going to get into that. I wouldn't touch this at this point. Then you'll see insights. This usually deals with analytical data on your site. So if we were to, and we will be hooking up our site to Google Analytics, there's a way that you can view some of your generic settings. Unless you pay extra for this insights tool, you'll still be able to view a quick dashboard of your Google Analytics within WordPress, but I like to use Google Analytics on its own. And that really hits on most of the stuff that I wanted to talk about from a high level perspective in the WordPress dashboard. But the four main things that I want you to focus on, and what we're going to focus on in the upcoming videos, is one, plugins, just giving ourselves the right functionality that we need for building our site. Appearance, which is just, making our site look the way we want it to look. And then we're going to get into the posts and pages and building out our content based on what we decided to go with from keyword perspective, and what we've decided to go with from a sitemap perspective, and what pages we want to include. So that's going to be in the upcoming videos. Hopefully you're now more familiar with how WordPress and the admin dashboard works, and you'll be more familiar with this when we start building out our pages. So in the next video, we're going to actually start installing some essential plugins, starting off with the Astra starter template, so we can start making our website look a lot better instead of just a plain blank canvas that just has a few words on it. So I'm excited to get started with that. If you have any questions, reach out or post a comment below, or post a comment on our Facebook group, and we will see you in the next video. All right, thanks everyone.